There are stringent rules and procedures for entering the facility that must always be adhered to. Follow me.
Entry to the facility is by security key and double entry doors. Either door will only open once the other door has locked. The reception or lobby area houses a manned control room where all personnel are required to sign into the entry logbook and check on who else is working in the facility. Where appropriate and if available, prior to entry, staff should check the pressure dials and warning lights to ensure that the facility is functioning correctly. Any consumables, equipment or specimens required are passed through a double-doored pass hatch or fumigation chamber. There is no need to shower before going into the laboratory, but staff should always make sure that toiletries and towels are available for when they leave the containment areas. A door leads from the changing room into the containment area. Now we're ready to pick up our samples and equipment from the pass hatch. Although similar to Level 1, Biosafety Level 2 involves working with microbes of moderate potential risk to laboratory personnel and the environment. Biosafety Level 3 involves working with various bacteria and viruses that can cause severe to fatal disease in animals and humans, but for which vaccines or other treatments may exist. They include virulent Newcastle disease virus and notifiable avian influenza. The Class 3 Biological Safety Cabinet provides the highest level of protection for personnel and the environment. Biosafety Level 4 is required for work with highly dangerous pathogens that pose a high risk of laboratory infections. They can cause severe to fatal disease in animals and humans, are likely to spread to the community, and are pathogens for which vaccines or other treatments are not available. Hence the need for a safe and secure biolab when handling these agents. Access to a Level 3 or 4 biosafe or biocontainment laboratory and its facilities is restricted to authorised and competent personnel only. In the UK and at VLA, staff must have full counter-terrorism clearance. They must have full occupational health clearance to work with flu and skin and respiratory sensitisers. And they must be trained to work to relevant standard laboratory operating procedures and risk assessments. It's the responsibility of those using the laboratories to ensure that they're fit and well and capable of working safely, not just for their own protection, but for that of other users. Biocontainment facilities have a very high degree of inbuilt protection for personnel working with pathogens. Personal protective equipment, or PPE, acts as a barrier to minimise the risk of exposure to aerosols, splashes and accidental inoculation. But never forget, it is not a substitute for good laboratory hygiene and practice, and is considered lastly once all other control measures have been considered and put into place. The equipment is selected according to the nature of the tasks to be undertaken and by the specific properties of the material being worked with. Whatever the task, PPE is required when working with any infectious or potentially infectious material. For example, in this lab, for avian influenza viruses, we have, through risk assessment, identified 3 different groups or categories of virus, reflecting differing hazard level. What precautions are taken to protect the environment against pathogenic release?
The building is under strict environmental control. Everything that enters and leaves the building is restricted. So this includes the waste, the people, the air, and this tight control ensure that the environment is protected.
What type of work is undertaken in Biosafety Level 3?
Any type of work, but it's all with live pathogen.
Before a thorough clean-up can begin, a local assessment of the exposure risk needs to be made. Once that's completed and approved, certain procedures need to be put in place. The procedures and reactions to any spill will depend on the risk level of the agent or the virus that is spilt.
As we've seen, the dangers posed by many pathogenic organisms can be contained thanks to the continuing developments in the area of biosafety and the facilities to provide them.